Um, I am so excited about this introduction and that we have with us the very talented Heather Smith, the CEO of StoryFile. And before she gets started, I want to give a shout out and introduction. First of all, full disclosure, I am extraordinarily honored to be on the team and work in some capacity in support of StoryFile. It is truly such a prolific and profoundly exceptional company under Heather's leadership that you're going to get to hear about today. And something you may not have heard of in association with StoryFile are NFTs, but they go together very well. And you may have seen the coverage on 60 Minutes with Heather's work. That is with the Holocaust survivors, which is now interactive AI content in her venture. And it's something you heard earlier about Portal. We are honored to display in the Portal StoryFile. So I want to give the stage to Heather Smith, who is also a friend. I'm so grateful. And one more thing, Heather, last year you were pitching your company, and now your company is just, it's on fire. I mean, I'm so excited to hear your story about StoryFile. So the floor is yours, Heather. Take it away. I think you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I love working with Molly because she's got amazing energy that she brings to everything. So we're definitely pleased and honored to work with you as well. And I want to thank the whole AI Showbiz team for inviting me back this year to talk to you about the exciting new things we're doing at StoryFile, the world's first conversational video platform, or as we call it, videos that talk back. StoryFile allows people to get to know other people in an exciting new way. So I'm going to explain it to you for those that you don't know. They will be able to have conversations with anyone, anywhere, anytime. People will be able to ask their heroes about their life, their accomplishments, the decisions they've made, and ask them why. Ask anyone questions about their life's journey, about the world we live in, and what they've learned along the way on their journey. We will answer them, our authentic selves. They will see us talking to them and hear our stories in our own words and in our own voice. Nothing edited or manipulated. It's just the authentic you. So I'm going to give you a little back history. About 10 years ago, I envisioned a world where people would be able to ask Holocaust survivors about their lives. People would continue to have conversations with them long after they were no longer with us. I embarked on a journey that would change my life. I partnered with several institutions to develop a way for us to talk to real people long after they had passed away. When I had this idea, there was no way that I could know if it would actually work as I had envisioned, because nothing like this had ever been done before. And there was not even a model for it. So mainly funders, people, they couldn't envision it. Remember, Skype at the time was not widespread yet. This was 2010, 2009, and certainly no FaceTime and no Siri on the horizon. So why real people? Why couldn't we use avatars or virtual characters of the survivors? And I assure you that even 10 years ago, that would have been a lot easier than what we ended up doing. But it had to be authentic. The Holocaust had been plagued with deniers, which meant that if it was going to be taken seriously, people could never say that these conversations were made up or manipulated. Interestingly, there are issues that we currently are wrestling with, the authenticity and security of our own digital assets and our own videos and people, and whether or not people actually said things. But we made this decision almost 10 years ago for the obvious reasons. Besides looking into someone's eyes as they are telling you a story, seeing and feeling their body language, and hearing all the intonations in their voice, is key actually to being able to make a real connection with someone. And that is not possible to do through creating an avatar of an individual. So no virtual characters, no animation, no CGI, no curated responses using their voice, no deep fakes. And don't get me wrong, digital recreations do have a place, especially when those individuals are no longer alive. But they have to be done with a lot of care, a lot of attention to authenticity, and a lot of attention to every small detail. Because whenever possible, and I think most of us would all agree, the real thing, without a doubt, is always preferable. I was called crazy. People said to me, "You want to talk to dead people?" And the project was even called the Seance Project by one institution. Funny though, I was still determined. And I think it was because I was naive enough to think I could make it happen. And besides, no one else was coming up with any other option. These people, the Holocaust survivors, had taught us so much. The world needed them to share their experiences with us. If they weren't making a difference, why would people keep asking them to come tell their story year after year, decade after decade? So we were 5 years into the project. Then something changed. It was a tipping point. I finally saw that what I had envisioned would actually work as we envisioned it. And what's more, people were actually excited about the possibility of doing it themselves. The one question I got most often was, can I do this myself? So I thought, what would it be like if generations from now, every human being was able to talk to some relative of theirs that had lived decades before them, or learn something from someone that they would not have had the chance to meet or talk to in person? So I set out to build an entirely new system. It had to be automated, it had to be affordable, and it had to use capture devices that everyone had at their hand if it was going to be ubiquitous for presidents and grandparents alike, for everyone, because everyone's story mattered. StoryFile is a tech platform that anyone, individuals, and institutions can use to create their own conversational video interactions or content. Icons can use it, create their own content. Anyone asked the same question over and over again can use StoryFile. Adventurers can talk to anyone they want about their experience. Experts of all kinds can teach us. Our heroes can answer all kinds of questions and we can feel like we've really gotten to know them. For institutional knowledge or memory, for even getting to know someone, for training, for education, historical figures of all kinds, but especially for our families, our personal legacy, and our future generations. Soon we are launching our very first product. It's our consumer product. StoryFile Life is a website where everyone will be able to produce their own story file. Interview your parents, your grandparents, relatives, your children, or yourself. Imagine your children being able to talk to their great grandparents and learn about what their life was like, or your 15-year-old children talking to your 25-year-old self, or even you at 15 years old. That would be an amazing conversation. Anyone will be able to film themselves, create a story file, and then interact with themselves in real time. StoryFile Life has the tools to create your own story file, tell your own story in your own words and in your own voice. So look more for William Shatner, who graciously has agreed to be the face of StoryFile Life, and let him tell you why he did a story file. And it's coming this June. But this is only the beginning. We will make conversational video ubiquitous. This is a completely new medium that is going to change how we communicate. Soon, we will be able to talk to a product. For example, I would love to ask about Ford's new Mach-E, ask a follow-up question of a teacher after a lesson, get to know someone before we schedule that all-important first interview or first date, get the answers that we need in the moment from someone that actually knows the answer. All we have to do is ask. No more spending time looking for that person's contact details, waiting for a text or an email, or God forbid, looking through a manual for the answer. What if I could have a conversation with someone that was also diagnosed with multiple sclerosis or brain cancer, breast cancer, any kind of disability or um, any kind of diagnosis, and ask them how they coped with the diagnosis or how they told their family, how they told their children? What if I could have some difficult conversations with people without worrying about judgment or fear of hurting them? And we're also, as Molly told you, we're working with Portal. So we're working with all kinds of display options. We're completely display agnostic, but Portal is probably my favorite because it brings a holographic image of you anywhere, and the small footprint that it offers is going to change the way we interact with holographic imagery through museums or even movie theaters or conventions or anywhere, visitor centers, anywhere. You can talk to a story file. Let's say you are at a film festival and you would like to talk to the director of one of the films, and you can just walk up to her portal and ask her anything about the film and why she made it and what's this and what choices they made. All kinds of conversations that you can have anywhere, anytime. But you could also talk to a story filer on your phone, your computer, anywhere or anytime. So let's get to the point. Let's talk about monetization and NFTs. Well, what if individuals were able to monetize their story files? For example, charities could take donations from people that want to have conversations with their ambassadors. Icons could have conversations with their fans at conventions all over the world at the same time, or their fans could have the opportunity to ask them questions through a pay to play, as easy as renting a movie. But the ultimate for any fan would be to own a conversation with their hero through an NFT. It could be a whole life history. It could be around a specific theme, or just 5, 10, 20 questions that you're curious about and want to ask that individual. Fans could buy NFTs in parts, similar to trading cards, or whole, as a body of work or life history, sort of as one might own an artist's catalog. It's really up to the individual. After all, StoryFile is a proprietary, unique digital content that can be customizable. The content is purely owned by the individual, so the opportunities are actually endless. The unique aspect that StoryFile offers is the conversational interaction. Say you attach a video clip or a photo to an NFT. The added value of being able to ask that person questions. For example, there's an NFT right now up for sale of LeBron James making a beautiful, beautiful shot. And it's going for $250,000 currently. What if I told you that not only could you have that 40-second video, but you could then ask LeBron James about that shot and about that game and talk to him? What would that moment be? What would that to own that conversation would be priceless. Of course, we would all love it if every story filer did it purely for altruistic purposes and that everyone's story files were made public. But we do understand that some individuals do make a living from sharing their experiences during their lifetime. And we would never tell anyone what to do, as it is their content to do with as they wish. That said, there are opportunities now for these individuals to monetize their story file if they so choose. Think about that person. I love the question, like, who would you have dinner? Who would the one person that you would love to have at a dinner party? Now, what if you owned that conversation and could have that conversation over and over again with your hero, or share that unique conversation with the world? What would that be worth? Now, please keep in mind, unlike your other guests, I am not an expert in NFTs. That said, what I do know an awful lot about is content. And whether you're talking about online, VR, AR, or any kind of other storytelling medium, we're all talking about content. It all depends on having content, useful, interesting, purpose driven, or entertaining content. That's first and foremost what it's all about. So StoryFile offers the world of NFTs the same thing it offers any other vertical, a nonlinear, truly interactive experience. Instead of being told a narrative that you want that's been crafted by someone else and based on what they want you to know, StoryFile offers a user-led, or as we like to call it, a curiosity-driven experience. We're encouraging everyone to get into creating their own content for NFTs. One of our favorite quotes at StoryFile happens to be from Sappho. She was a Roman poet. She said, "Someone will remember you, even in another time." StoryFile makes it possible for generations to remember you for all time. This is the evolution of storytelling, conversational video, videos that talk back. Thank you for listening. And now I'm looking forward to answering your questions.
Oh, Heather, that was so epic. Oh my goodness. You know, I get to know maybe a little bit more about StoryFile than most, being on the team over there, but learned some new things, and I love what you said about NFTs. Adrian is here to lead the Q&A portion. Go ahead, Adrian.
Hi.
Oh my God, you might not be the NFT queen, but I am. And let me tell you, I have 1.5 million ideas for you.
Great.
So,
Love
I
it.
mean,
Bring it on.
I will. My favorite line. I work with a lot of platinum selling, Grammy winning artists, and my favorite thing is, look, you see a lot of musicians out there, and they're minting an album that's 2 years old that has music videos on YouTube, and they slap a cover on it and they ask for $100,000. That's not an NFT. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness! For every filmmaker, I run these NFT rooms on Clubhouse, and sometimes they go for 10 days, sometimes they go for 24 hours straight. And they're always looking for what can they do to make their NFT unique. And you are literally about to be my favorite tip for every single person creating their NFT. So you and I are going to have to get together offline so I understand it and I can pitch it correctly. But this is beautiful. This is so much better than when I recommend the Criterion Collection and doing a director's narrative, you know, like the director's track where they talk about those things. Yeah. I'm in awe.
Thank you.
And I'm hard to impress. So girl, this is insane. This is so good.
Thank you.
Yes. And I totally see every application, the dating thing, oh my God, all of it.
Amazing.
All of it. So I'm just check really quickly right here to make sure I have all of the questions. So when you're open to, Catherine asked, when it's open to all of the public, how would you prepare the AI for obnoxious and offensive questions?
Easily. There are some of the responses, we call them off topic. And so for example, you would say, you could be nicer than that, you know, or I don't have an answer to that question. Maybe you would like to ask me about my childhood or my career or
yes.
what the championship game was like, you know, to win, or that gold medal, or climbing Mount Everest, or anything.
So it's not a deep fake, and it's not an AI generating your voice and answering the questions. It's actually pre-recorded video.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So the AI is really just determining the question that you've asked and the appropriate video for the answer.
Yes, we had to write our own NLP software and our own algorithms, and we have our own machine learning aspect of it as well. And we did that because we wanted it to be as natural of a conversation as possible. So we wanted it to understand the entire question, every word in the question, and the context of that question. So that's what we're working on developing and moving forward as we speak.
Okay, so tactical question here. How, if I'm going to bundle a story file as locked content, how will people access this?
So you're talking about, well, you have the ability to invite anybody to access the story file if you want. You can also make it private. You can also make it public. So,
Okay.
and it can be embedded in any website you want. We are coming out with a mobile app as well that you'll be able to search people that have made their story files public. That'll come out in the fall.
Okay.
But
So
yeah.
for NFTs, so here's my thought.
Yeah.
Here's my thought. Okay. For NFTs, one of the things that I talk to filmmakers about is that they could use like Vimeo Private, put their film only on their website, lock it to that domain name. Could we do the same thing with the story file? Because we can use the NFT as a token access gate so that only people who own this NFT can even enter the private part.
Yep.
So then it would automatically play.
You can do it all. Yeah. And I'll tell you, we're using a really interesting new software. And you might have heard of it. It's called Starling. And we're doing that so that we can say to our community and anyone that does the story file that the videos that they're capturing, if anyone does rip it from the internet or any other device, if anyone alters it, if anyone messes with it, changes your words, uses a voice synth to make you say something that you didn't, that video will be tagged and you'll know it. So you'll know if it's been manipulated.
Wow. So it's like
it's like a fingerprint. It's like a fingerprint of the video. So they can tell you if it's been messed with.
Wonderful. So it's basically like the blockchain permanence of your video so that it's
all using blockchain. Don't ask me how it works.
Yeah. So we have another question from Nathan about membership fees and storage and what does that look like? So I'm going to sign up today, and how do I do that? And what is that going to cost me?
You can go to storyfile.com and you can sign up to be one of the first to know when it launches. To do a full story file is probably going to run in the range of $200 to $500, and it will depend on how much content you're videoing, how much storage it is, how much you're recording.
And are there monthly maintenance fees, or is it a flat fee up front?
There's annual, very small annual storage fee, but it's mostly it's primarily a one-time payout. There will be people, and they'll probably use more of the mobile app for this, but let's say podcasters, for example, just as an example, they want to add their own questions and they want to make their own Q&A. And so they would do it probably through the mobile app or using our backend, which is going to be our B2B. It's a SaaS product that we're launching also. And they can create their own content, put that out there in the world whenever they want to, weekly, daily, whatever they want, and answer all of the fans' questions at one go, so they don't have to do it over and over and over again.
I see a huge use in this for founders. So every time we do a pitch competition, we get the same, 50 questions, and it's, the tokenomics and what's your revenue plan and how are you going to get your users to sign up and right?
Yeah.
And I could totally see, having a platform built on top of StoryFile specifically for pitches, where here's my pitch, here's my deck, it's all beautiful, and then the investors can then ask their questions afterwards.
We did a story file for one of our fundraising rounds, and we're gonna have to redo it when we go back into the next round. But yeah, it was super useful because it answers all the basic questions. And like you said, they're all the same 25 questions up front. And then you get into the details, obviously.
Right. But then your response to that detail can literally be, I don't have a story file for that set up, but you are more than welcome to reach out and email me that question.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I think this is ingenious. How did I not know of you or hear of you before? I have a dating app and I want to integrate now. So what is the?
You're gonna have to get in line, but yeah, people for some reason, and that was, I mean, we've been in this. We started StoryFile and working on it about 2018, 2017. And one of the things one of the verticals that our investors just love is the possibility of the dating world. So, yeah, I'd love to talk to you any day.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that you guys get connected. I'm so excited. The two of you have met. And Heather, oh my goodness, what an incredible talk. I'm so inspired. Keep up the wonderful work. Is there anything that we can all do, the viewers, and we're also live on YouTube, out there to help you with what you're doing with StoryFile?
If you want to all go on storyfile.com and sign up we will email you when StoryFile Life launches in June. So you'll be the first to try it out. And
I would love to be the very first.
Please let us know what you think. You know,
I used to break into banks for a living, and I can break anything just naturally. Like it's part of my magic. Like you put a rock solid platform in front of me, and I'll crash it in like 10 minutes.
I might give you the beta version then.
Yeah, the beta version.
I don't want anyone having problems in June.
No, and I'll do it in magical ways that nobody ever thought of. It'll hit all the functional requirements and the user requirements and do exactly what it's supposed to do, and then I'll somehow make it do what it's not supposed to do.
Okay.
How much fun has this talk been, and insightful and enlightening and most of all inspirational. Keep up the wonderful work, Heather. Thank you for zooming in today.
Thank you.
For all that you and the team are doing at StoryFile.
Thank you for letting us share all our great news, exciting news this year. And keep up the good work with the AI Showbiz. Love it.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you so much.
And I'm signed up.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Well, wow, this day is going so quickly. I just sent a text that I'm truly having one of the very best days of my life. I love the community that we have formed with AI Showbiz, and I am thrilled about our next speaker, and she was pitching her venture last year, and she is here today to share her wisdom. Literally, you'll see in a moment what I'm talking about. Brandy, the day is flying by. Isn't it fascinating? Wasn't Heather incredible?
Thank you. Yes, there's many aspects of how all of this is tying in together. I say, we are taking over the world with greatness and impact and good technology. So absolutely, I just think it's fascinating. I've actually was on an advisory board for a product similar, and there was a lot of gray area. So I know how hard she must have been working over this time to be able to offer this as a solution coming up really soon. So I'm excited to see it all come together. We have someone who is going to bring us into the Dream Machine Impact NFT.